What's good guys, TheoryFighter here, and today I've got a match between Roman and myself, and this footage is from the Fate of 4 bi-weekly tournament which we are currently holding at Heart of Gaming, and we post on Twitter when we're going to be doing these, so if you're in the London area and you like cross Tekken, you should definitely come down. There's a lot of really talented players there, a lot of people that are really into cross Tekken, and it's actually a really cool event. It's kind of like, it's run by me and C4IQ. I'll put a link to his YouTube in the description. And yeah, there's some really good matches going on. HG Jammers is also recording a load of casuals, and they're really good as well, so check those out. It's just generally got a very interesting skill level and just a lot of very talented players. I'm fast forwarding this first round because I'm an idiot and didn't do a button check, and it turns out my my roundhouse button wasn't working. So shout outs to me and shout outs to Hori. But yeah, I've played Ro a lot, in tournaments. Like, he knocks me out pretty much every single cross Tekken tournament I play in where he's at. Beating me every single time, and in Street Fighter 4 it's the same story. He always beats me. Very talented player, but it's been a while since we've played. He's been playing Dota 2, and he's kind of come back to cross Tekken a little bit, which is great because he is a really talented player. And this was grand finals. I had put him into losers. I beat him 2-0 in the tournament quite early on, and he fought his way back into grand finals, and this is best three out of 5, and yeah, so it's 1-0 to him so far, and we'll get straight into this, and we'll talk about it a little bit. This Paul in this matchup, he does fucking tons of damage, and that we have the same team construct basically, where he wants to just get Paul in and deal ridiculous damage to me, and I want to get Gief in and deal ridiculous damage. Fortunately there, I got the punish on the boost chain, which you're not going to see me get a lot in this because it's really hard to do versus Vega. Definitely something I need to work on. But the whole idea for me in this matchup is get a life lead, make Vega redundant as quick as possible. But this is a matchup I don't want to play. I want Chun to be in for this. And that's why I didn't go back into Gief there for the mix-up. I feel like I'd do a much better job versus Vega with Chun, just because I can force whiffs. That right there, you can punish that. It's not true block string. You can do things about it. I screwed up and reacted too slow. But this is what you have to worry about in this matchup. Paul's damage is just so ridiculous. I did an EX spinning bird kick there just to get him off and see if I can build a bit of space, because I'm comfortable in this matchup. Paul doesn't have too much, and there I get a punish. I could have done a lot more. I could have burnt a little bit of meter because it doesn't look like I'm going to be bringing Chun back in. But I do get a mix up, and this is going to go back into Gief. And he has defense gems on Paul, so he can take a few more risks than most players. But this, unfortunately, is for him. He quite clearly wasn't comfortable in the Gief matchup. I felt that, generally speaking, if Gief knocks you over in a corner with a lariat, if you quick rise, you're going to eat a 50-50 that is incredibly hard to know what side you're going to land on. So you may as well just not quick rise or forward roll and roll into the corner, because I'm probably not going to be able to punish it. And like I said before, Roman is really good at jumping. He's really good at playing footsies as well. It's just unfortunate that he has to do it in this matchup, but it's not possible really. Like, what I need to do is stand jab and stand short. I'm stand shorting to punish the the low forward and that Tekken chain Paul has, and with that he kind of can't really do anything. That was a pretty smart move. That move is +3 on block, so it's it's really powerful move. You can stand jab it or just lariat it out of the air, but the risk reward is kind of in his favour for the most part. And once again, bringing Chun back in just to fight the better matchup basically. And one of the good things about Ro is he's very good at knowing when you're going to poke. He does a very good job of it. Unfortunately there, doesn't pay off. He went into the boost chain. I'm sure it was a mistake on his part. Tried to cover it up with tag cancel, but yeah, just got happy birthday for it, which is pretty unfortunate. Like, it's quite obvious that's not what he was going for, but you know, these things happen for sure. And in Cross Tekken, a game where you do, like most combos do, like a third of your life, you know, it definitely sucks. Dropping his boost chain there, which is a little bit unfortunate. You can tell that he's a little bit rusty. And one of the things that I noticed when we used to play a bit more in tournament was when he loves to jump, and he does a great job of it. And the other thing is he loves to alpha counter. So you see a lot of this match is me baiting alpha counters, a lot of trying to anti-air, not always successful, but definitely trying. Like, there should have been a clean anti-air, but the reason that I find it so hard to anti-air him is you'll see it, I think it happens once in this match, where he will actually bait out the lariat and just does this by empty jumping with Vega, and because he has a kind of weird arc, it can be quite hard to deal with. Finally get him off me, and that's the bait right there. Yeah, he does know those angles well enough to make sure that I'll whiff, and he brought Paul in, brings Vega back into the match, but unfortunately I just kind of mashing jab. It's a bit scrubby, but you know, I wanted to establish that he couldn't get too reckless and start hitting lots and lots of buttons on me, and walking in too close and going for throws. The thing about this matchup, I find personally, is like what makes Chun so good at footsies is the fact that when you're meterless, you can kind of just spam stand strong into lightning legs, and most characters can't do anything about it, but Vega keeps you at a range where it's very hard to do that, and it means that I'm going to be kind of, you know, spending a lot of time trying to get into that range, or just stand fierce range and just poke him to death. That's kind of what I normally go for. And once again, you saw Roman going for that alpha counter on the cross up, which was really smart. That right there, that's what I have been working on with Gief. It's a very old Alpha 2 style response to alpha counters, where you want to hit them very low to the ground, where it's kind of a pseudo safe jump versus alpha counters. Gief has his jump forward, which is really low to the ground and does a really good job of dealing with alpha counters. So you see once or twice I'll go to that in this matchup. And yeah, it was just a case of alpha countering, making sure he doesn't get a free tag out, and yeah, draining the red life there is definitely a bonus. And he gets out. I have a meter lead. I should have supered there, but I didn't. He has to tag. He has to tag to bring in Vega and try to mount a comeback, or he just goes in with Paul. I knew that, so I played super defensively and then went for the super when he tagged in. It was the easiest option. I'm more than willing to drain out the clock here, which I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I just play like a total scumbag now and just jump backwards for the next 10 seconds, because it is still Cross Tekken. we still do that. And yeah, just going for jump mix-ups, so I was getting 3 forward rolls. And that's the end of that round. The thing about Ro is he's a good enough player to not be mentally guard broken. Unlike myself, I feel like Ro, he just didn't really know the Gief matchup, whereas I get a little bit shaky towards the end of this set, just because he does reads like that. He's a very confident player where he will do like hard reads, or like when you're being aggressive on him, and that's definitely like a skill that you have to have. Like, he is willing to read you, and this is a really, really bad situation for me to be in. Not just because I'm at a life deficit, it's that I have no meter. I mean, a very, very lucky break there. I thought I was going to build meter on the crouch fierce, didn't. Fortunately, I baited the alpha counter and got Gief in, which is very, very lucky for me. This shouldn't have worked at all. But here, he's got those defense gems, so it didn't hurt him too much, but the running bear grab will do it, and that's the end of that round. And yeah, like I was saying, definitely Roman has the upper hand on me most of the time. I think it's just a case of him being a little bit rusty, but it's still interesting. I was happy to kind of show that some of my strategies that I've been planning versus him work. But there was definitely some issues in this matchup for me. On a personal level, I felt like I was missing a lot of things. Like, I wasn't punishing boost chains correctly or using my meter wisely. I think there's a lot of like spare meter kind of going around when I could be using it. One of the things that make Rose so good is that he does capitalize on every situation. If he trades, he will get a punish. Like, he will continue that combo and punish you. And he showed me that can be safe. If you just jab cancel the run, it's safe, which is ridiculous. That little situation where he raw launched me, it could have just been a raw launch, but I'm pretty sure he was trying to alpha counter the cross up, but it didn't work out for him. And yeah, good stuff there, pushing me away, baits the super, which, I don't know, really obvious for me to go for that right there, especially when he was on such low health, and it was quite clear that I needed that to win. Yeah, this matchup is just horrible for Paul. Like, I don't really know what Paul could do for the most part. He has to kind of play footsies. The life is very equal here, so he's very smart to kind of play defensively and just try and get something, and that's exactly what he needed. And with that, he's got the life lead now, so he can go back to playing defensively. I'm probably just going to try and build meter because I know that I can't get in. So that's why you're getting all these random EX green hands to try and build a bit of meter for the next round. But he played that smart. Like, you can't really fault that. Playing that conservatively with Paul at, 20 seconds left when they've got a life lead, that's hard to do, really hard to do. And this is one of the adaptations that I saw him. He was in like the rounds where he had meter, he was doing a lot more things to bring Claw back in and continue pressure on, instead of just relying on Paul and possibly losing a life lead very early on by me bringing in Gief. And yeah, you're going to see it again there. I tried to roll and punish the alpha counter. Sometimes you can do that versus characters, and I have minimal Paul experience, so it was just kind of testing the water, so to speak. And yeah, that's the superior footsies of Vega. Once again, bringing him back in, he just did such a good job of playing footsies with my Gief and baiting things like that. Unfortunately, took my hands off the controller, so life lesson, don't ever do that, but I seem to do it constantly. This is a gimmick, I posted a video about it, the Pandora gimmick with Gief and Chun. Didn't work out, I did it way too late, and unfortunately lost a round because of it. Not really much chance of me doing anything, especially if he would have built 1 meter within the combo, or within, if I hit him, he would have built meter anyway. So I just left that round. Pretty stupid in retrospect, looking at it, that situation specifically. I could have definitely made a comeback, especially the fact that he had Paul in, but it's one of those situations when you're actually in that sort of environment, you just kind of raise your hands and accept defeat, I guess. But very stupid of me to do. Once again, going back to this Chun-Li stand strong sort of game, he was a little bit less confident with the pokes than I expected, especially after our first game earlier on, where he was willing to throw out boost chains a lot more. Here, I actually got a little bit more meter on him than I kind of expected. I mean, that just makes me feel like a bad person because that's like the most gimmicky thing in the world, but it works way too much in life. Brought back in Gief here. I got the mix up on him, and yeah, that definitely won me the round. In retrospect, it was a bit of a waste of meter. The reason you bring Gief back in is if you want to really hone in on a lead, and looking at the fact that he had the meter to deal with that, if he had blocked that one mix up, then it would have been a different story. He definitely would have been able to bring Paul back in. But like I said, my whole plan is to lower Vega's health to the point where he's kind of non-existent in this matchup, and then just play the Paul matchup, because Paul he has to be in a specific situation to be a threat, and I just didn't want him to get that situation. It's the whole idea. And once again, bringing back in Vega, smart stuff, gets the throw on me, and this is a pretty horrible situation to be in. We've got a load of throws, and now I've got no red life. I'm getting close to 3 bars. I should probably back off and try and build a bit of meter, or just hard tag in Gief and then try and make a comeback with 50 seconds to go. I didn't, which feels a little bit stupid, because at 50, like, the reason you see a lot of people leave their character in is because they think that if they lose that health in which they're guaranteed to lose, they're definitely going to lose the round. But I had 50 seconds. That's more than enough time to mount a comeback, especially when I had access to Pandora. That little gimmick, it is still 0 frames, so I can actually punish you. He was already backdashing smartly. He knew that I was going to go for it. Bringing back Gief in here, I don't know, maybe I was in a kind of a rush. I said before, I felt like I was mentally guard broken by the end. I was getting a little bit worried about it, and I think I I really didn't want the bracket to be reset because I could tell that Row was getting better with each round. And I really wanted to finish the game off as quick as I physically could. And here, just standard pressure. I should have alpha countered that in retrospect. Like I said before, you don't want Paul to be in that favourable situation. And with that role, that is his situation. You know, he's got you still standing, he gets a mix up on you, and you have very little defensive options. Fortunately for me, it paid off. One of the things I noticed with the Gief is I didn't land any SPDs on him, but he was still very scared of the SPD. He was holding up back a lot, and so I kind of went with the mentality of like, if I stagger jab enough, he is eventually going to do something and I'm going to get a bit of damage, and I could just kind of grind him out from there. And yeah, you saw it once again, just trying to jump out and get the anti-air, win that round, and take the tournament. Fortunately for me, the thing about this tournament, it's like going 0-2 in this bi-weekly is like the least embarrassing thing in the world, because everyone's of such a high level at the moment. We've got Wolfsten, we've got Jammers, we've got Darkos, we've got HBK, and just endless great players. Everyone's good, everyone's a threat, everyone can win. It's just what day is, like how busy they were the day before, you know, who's been practicing the most. And it makes it a really cool environment because everyone's improving very quickly. I think C4IQ is definitely a big component of that, because he is a newer player to Cross Tekken, wanted to do something for the Cross Tekken community, so he worked on this and kind of contacted a lot of people with the help of Jammers, who knows everyone in like the Cross Tekken scene, and we managed to get it going. And he C4IQ is not really a Cross Tekken player, it's a Marvel player, and he got into Cross Tekken relatively recently. Been playing it for about nearly a month, I'd say, and in that month he's improved more than I've seen anyone else. He doesn't play online, he only has PSN, and the UK scene on PSN for Cross Tekken is non-existent. He just plays offline with good players, and as such he's improved dramatically. He's become a really formidable player, very reaction based, defensive, interesting player to watch. You know, and I think everyone in our little scene is going from strength to strength. So I mean, if you're in the area, you should definitely come down. Like I said, Heart of Gaming, bi-weekly on Fridays, and it's only £5 to get into the venue. You get to play on whatever cab you want. There's cabs everywhere, there's setups everywhere, there's every game you could want to play at that place. There's always someone running ST and always someone playing Alpha 2. Like, you know, if whatever game you're interested in, Heart of Gaming probably runs a tournament for it. So definitely check them out on Facebook. And like I said before, check out Jammers and C4IQ, because they've been a massive help in getting this whole thing set up. And hopefully soon we'll have a stream as well. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that match, and I'll see you soon. Peace.